everyone. Welcome to our Orchids webinar. We're really excited and happy to have an opportunity to show you our platform and have a closer look as to what it can do. We want to welcome each and every one of you. I know we have some international people. We have people from Canada, Netherlands, Honduras, China, India, all over the United States. We even have us from Puerto Rico, some of us from the Embodee team, and other areas of the United States. We're really excited to have you. And like I said, show you a little bit of our platform. Just a quick overview of our interface here that we're working with. On the right side, we have a chat. If you want to let us know any comments, say hello to us. We'll be able to see it. Also, if you have any issues with sound or anything, we tested that Chrome works well. So you can jump into your Chrome browser to use it. And then I'll send over to Jorm so he can get us started.
Excellent. Thank you, Monica. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our first webinar. We're thrilled to have you here. This is our first one in a series of hopefully many others that will come along. We would like to introduce our innovative approach into how better work with 3D, whether you have a system or not. So we're looking forward for this to be an enriching, engaging, and exciting experience for all of us, ourselves included. So we'll start you off with getting to know your hosts. Ben, who is our head of products, will go first in just a couple of seconds. I'll then be introducing my part. We'll keep it when I run you through the state of the industry, which is, as I like to call it, my vista point, being in this industry of digital product creation and the apparel business for over 17 years now. So down at the bottom of your screen, if you scroll with your mouse down, you'll see that you'll find our poll. It's already open. There's 4 questions that we brought up for you. It will be so appreciative if you can fill this poll up and you see the results of how everyone is voting. Right next to the poll, you have 2 more tabs. One of them is for material information that we would like to share with you. It's a single page called Why Orchids, kind of highlighting the value of why we're here today. And right next to that is the question section, which there are a couple of ways in how you can send us questions. One is through that area, that'll be the best. Other one is through the chat window. And we already have a few of us that have sent us email questions prior to the event, so we'll take those as well. Orchids, anyone can now use 3D. Is our live presentation and the main reason we're here today. So Ben Sosinski will take us there. And everyone's favorite part, Q&A, will wrap up this webinar. We have allocated some minutes for that. Would love for you to weigh in as much as possible. Would love for this, and the way we see it is this is your time. So love for you to enjoy it as best as you can. With introductions, I'll pass it on to Ben, please take it away.
Hi, I'm Ben Sosinski, head of products here at Embodee. I've been at Embodee for more than 5 years, but I'm pushing 15 years in driving product innovation, primarily in the web domain for major brands around the world. So I'm really excited to be here today and show off what Orchids has to offer.
Thank you, Ben, very much for that. So guys, the poll is running again down at the bottom of the screen. Please fill up the questions that you have or the answers that you'd like for the questions. If you answer no to question number 1, then for the next 3 questions, just enjoy a virtual cup of coffee or a virtual discussion. The poll is anything else is anonymous, so there is no mention of any of your names. If you do decide that the answer is no, it doesn't work for us, don't feel bad about that. Just fill it up. Would love to see what the answers are. At the core of everything that we're here for today is 3D. And we thought to call it the industry state. And I'll start it off with a bit of a disclaimer. I've been in this industry, as I mentioned before, for over 17 years now. I sold the first 3D system in the year 2003 to a small company out in Wisconsin, United States. And I think that I love the questions that came about then, such as, how can you tell that the avatar represents a real human size? I mean, we don't question that today, but we did way back then. And how at all can it be possible that 2D patterns can actually stitch and become a 3D product? It doesn't even make sense. And good questions that were going on way back then and still going on up until now is, can I take a sketch and turn it into 3D? Well, I wish this technology was possible, but maybe one day it will. All right, some efforts are being done out there. Hopefully, it'll be the case. But way back then, when we take a look at the left-hand side and what it is right now, even with then being what it was, people were still amazed. And when rubber met the road, even with assets being limited, people did make use of 3D. The big head bubble boy, as I like to call it, was, yeah, maybe not exactly the most appealing avatar that we have seen, but it was definitely something that companies could get some good reference from. Now, however, with rolled up sleeves, folded shirts, jackets with lining, things we never thought will be possible, a lot is now available for us to use in real world 3D use cases. So part of what I'll be covering in the next few minutes before I'm passing it on to Ben is we'll take a look at our industry, okay, and the challenges that we're going through right now, specifically as it relates to COVID. Starting off with what McKinsey and Company said in a research that they brought up right during the pandemic. It's available for download online. Innovation has been scaled up and it is here to stay. Each and every one of the boxes represents an area in where the innovation is happening for us right now, and there is also more to come. We also know very well that in-store sales have dropped and online is thriving, and it is not expected to change anytime soon. We'll take a look at some numbers that are, representing what was going on, at least here in the United States. We'll also take a look at what consumers are spending their money on in clothing and accessories versus overall spending. At the same time, when brands spending on technology needs to be on the increase, how much of it is actually happening and what more can be done in that sense. As a consequence, we're going to talk about how correctly to approach 3D then. What is the correct way or the better way or the enhanced way? What is in and what is not? And opportunities ahead, because that's absolutely the most positive message we want to pass along here today. What can we do with 3D in ways we've never done before? So first thing first, I promised you some numbers. Let me introduce you to Fred. He's my best friend, as I virtually like to call it. Fred is the Federal Reserve website. For those of you from overseas, here in the United States, we measure everything, the good and the bad, by the way. Everything about our consumer behavior, spending, sales, from any segment of the market, every aspect of the market is measured on the Federal Reserve website. Take a look at the left. What happened to clothing and accessories, which is the image that we see there? It dropped from about 22 billion to a little below 4 billion, guys. A figure that is staggering. That is at the beginning of the recession. We have not been in the vicinity of that number for what, ever since the 60s? And a strong recovery followed, as you can see over there. So starting to see already the effect of supposedly what we hopefully going to call coming out of the pandemic. And when we look at our consumer spending overall, which is on the right-hand side, we see that it was also getting a blow from 14 trillion to about 12 trillion, again, followed by a strong recovery, but it was not an equal drop, as you can tell from the two graphs. And by the way, guys, those gray columns you see there in the year 2008 or whatnot, that was that recession we thought signaling the end of the world. Merely looked like a hiccup for us right now. And if you wonder how us here in the United States as consumers spending our money, take a look at another source of news that kind of come to emphasize on what's going on in our industry. So income through the last 3 years, 2017, 18, and 19, has been increasing at a rate of about 6%. That's a healthy increase. And expenditures have been only increasing in 3%. So as consumers, we're saving. That's good news. We happily spend on many things, such as housing, food, cars. I mean, look how much money we spend there. That's an upwards of like 10% or whatnot. But the apparel and services is just increasing at about 0.9%. That's a very low number. Now, the 2020 numbers will come out just in the later part of 2021. This is only being released once every year at the BLS.gov website. But I suspect that some of the categories like spending on dwelling and cars and things and food, of course, and whatnot, is going to actually be much higher on the account of other categories that are not being presented here. Now, as it relates specifically to apparel and services, this really puts heavy pressure on brands, the factories, and anything that goes in between. So there was a lot of news out there in the past so many months. I think news sources such as Just Style, Bloomberg, and many others brought really good coverage on everything that was going on, the good and the bad. Already at the beginning, back in April, Just Style made an observation that 3D and virtual design are key to keep the fashion business on track. Moving on into July, so passing those couple of months of this heavy impact of the pandemic, again, another observation. Technology is key to navigating post-COVID fashion systems. Are we really spending that money? I mean, a lot of companies had to scale back their spending, their CapEx spending on technologies and whatnot because of the effect that it had on their business. And just later on in October, we see the effect of buyers failing to pay factories and the supply chain or whatnot. We see, for example, that more than half of the Bangladeshi suppliers surveyed said that the majority of their orders were canceled, and over 35% of the fashion companies have showed no evidence of paying their suppliers. Some troubling pieces of information there. Next to that, we see the impact of what's going to be lockdown 2.0 that the United Kingdom is going through right now, about $9 billion of a hit. But the positive news comes along with the observation of the CEO of Walmart just this week on Bloomberg saying COVID-19 has changed shopping for good. So is their prediction. There is no signs of this being signs of abating 8 months into this pandemic. So supply chain and observations, and those individuals I'm speaking with all the time are saying that, the request to use 3D is absolutely on the rise. And how to deploy it is still unclear. They want 3D, but how to deploy 3D? These are two really great questions, things I have seen for 17 years by now. Brands try to mandate maybe the use of one tool, but suppliers may already have invested in multiple of them. Why not benefit from all of that? Variant creation is time consuming. As a consequence, scalability is not being achieved. Are there different ways to achieve scalability? Orchids, we believe, is absolutely one of these. And then suppliers, to the point that they can provide you with the model and any other person can do everything else. That would be a wonderful way to take things forward. Now, I want to say that 3D authoring tools are amazing. I've been in that space. I saw those things. They are just the way to go. Each and every one of them has its own strength. Each and every one of them delivers amazing things. But I know that the comments I've been receiving through the years where it's time consuming and requires a specific skill set. The overall investment is high, keeps growing, because you need to add more people and licenses and whatnot. Sometimes the license is really not the issue. It's the people. Restricted to be used by one person at a time. It's not interoperable with other 3D solutions, which is a big topic of discussion and something we are actually posed to solve in a very nice way. Does not work on the web. How can you finally bring 3D to the web? And yet, still, everybody wants to get the final image. Everybody's after that amazing 3D experience. What else can they do with it? So we decided to go in a new, exciting, and innovative way and bring 3D to users together wherever they may be, not to infringe on anything that happens on the desktop license, but take that desktop license and the most amazing thing it does and extend it. So to allow you to create variants and assortments as a team in one place, no matter where the content is coming from, speed up your product design, bring 3D online to any person, whether they know 3D or not, making it an amazing experience beyond the valid, amazing use case of the 3D desktop license, and then publish it anywhere, making it something that works on the cloud, making it, whether you want to share it with assortments, 4K images, on your website, all those areas are things you can actually achieve by any of the individuals that you see there in this circle, whether it's a designer, the merchandiser, the marketing person, even your customers can interact with the platform. So in summary, before I'm passing it on to Ben, the garment creation, marketing, manufacturing, and selling process is distributed across a vast network of processes, people, and their companies around the world. I know it because I've traveled the globe for all those years, from Brazil to Shanghai. I've been in factories in southern India and remote places, and sat at skyscrapers from Colombo, Sri Lanka, all the way to New York City, where I live. And today's attendance, to that extent, from all over the world, as Monica mentioned to us a little while back, is also a wonderful reflection of that fact. So now, as all of you know, besides the geographic distribution, there are a lot of roles that have to come together to make and sell beautiful and sustainably made clothing and apparel. Orchids is being developed to help you do that. So let's have Ben show us what we've built so far and where we are planning to take it. So Ben, take it away.
All right, thank you very much, Yoram. Let me grab the screen here. Can you see it? Let me know when you can.
Yes, we can. Yep.
Okay, perfect. All right. So as Yoram said, all of you and all of your colleagues are absolutely essential and vital to the creation, marketing, and sales of your products. Each element along the chain is vital, but each we can probably mostly agree on operates mostly on an island. The expertise range among all of you and your colleagues is deep and vast. However, it is difficult for the people involved to efficiently and effectively share and pool your expertise in a timely, on-demand, and efficient manner. Thus, a central tenet in the design of orchids is to bring everyone together in a controllable, instant, and visual way around the same data and information, and allow everyone to pool and contribute their expertise in a way that makes everyone's work life easier and more efficient. So let me show you how. Okay, so let me move over to this tab. We're all good now. Are we all good?
Yes, sir.
All right, perfect. All right, so one disclaimer, everyone, obviously we're on a web conference, and some of the detail here on the materials and whatnot that I'm going to be showing you may not come through, so I may pause occasionally, and maybe awkwardly so in some cases, so the web conferencing image can catch up so you can see the detail. That's just a little disclaimer. And also I'll be doing a little role playing today and switch back and forth between different roles and use cases to try to give more of a context, I guess, to what is going on in the platform and how the different roles work together. So what I'm going to do here, so I'm in a browser, right? I'm in orchids3d.com, and I am going to log in as a product administrator. Okay, so product admins have the ability to invite users of all types, such as artists and collaborators, to the platform, create product lines, import and set up models, and so on. So they're among the super users of the platform. So I'm just going to log in, and I'm going to land here on what we call the grid. So anyone logging into the platform will land here. Up in the top, you see the product line that I'm in. You can have multiple product lines within Orchids. And here is a list of all the products that we have currently within the platform. On the product grid, you can categorize products into different categories, be able to search and filter to easily find products. And you can kind of see that this is a familiar look and feel. It's supposed to feel a little bit like an e-commerce site. It's easy to understand as you come. It's very visual and easy to use. So let me also say what Orchids is not. So we are not a 3D geometry creation tool. These are done in the 3D authoring tool. So that part of your workflow does not change. So what you're seeing here is a collection of models coming from various authoring tools. So you may see a product here in Modo, Clo, Browseware, Optitext, even Maya or Blender. And the idea is to get them all in one location so they can be used together for presentations and asset generation. And you'll also see that they all have a kind of a similar look to them, and that's because they're all being filtered through an Orchids rendering platform. So they also have a similar look and feel. That means that they can be used together in presentations and whatnot, and not feel like they came from different worlds. So that's really important when we start blending products together in presentations. Okay, so I'm going to go here, and I'm actually going to dive into a product. So I'm going to go here to our what we call our flagship product here. And what we have here is what we call our design tool. So up here in the top left-hand corner, you'll see a tab called Design. Anyone entering a product will see this view, all right? And here, the users can take a model, you can see any angle, you can zoom in and out, look at the quality of the materials. Let me get something that gets a little close. I hope you can see that come through. But more importantly, the ability to design products, change materials, for instance, change different colors. Walk the product. We have steps up here in the top right corner. If I click on this, I will go to the collar, for instance. I can change the geometry. If this product is modular, colorize the different parts of the product here, move on to different aspects. In this case, it's the cuffs. I come to the cuffs. I can see this print. I can change the prints, change the underlying color underneath, move on to the pocket. We have the ability to hide and remove and show different components of the product and create a design that I like. So once I've done and I'm finished with the design process here, I can create, let me just change a little bit more so it's more evident what I'm doing here. And maybe I can make a pocket that looks a little bit, I'm simply just clicking on the model. It provides the options over here on the right, and I'm able to colorize and select different materials there. So a product that looks a little bit more, so maybe something that I like, and I can create a variant. So over here on the left, we have a variants section. And these are a list of saved product attributes that I've changed over here in the product options panel. So what I can do is click on the plus button. I can just call this one, let's call it just cream. And I can hit create. And what this does is it adds yet another variant to my list here. Okay, and there it is. And this allows anyone coming to this product the ability to view past variants that have been created. So why may I want to use and have these variants created? So one of the features here in the design tool is the ability to create snapshots. So we have what we call our snapshot tool down here in the bottom left corner, and this allows anyone coming to this product the ability to render 2D imagery of the 3D product for uses such as, presentations or potentially use in an e-commerce space. So let's say if I'm marketing or part of the e-com team and I would like to use this imagery as part of selling this product on the e-com space, I can do so by maybe simply creating a snapshot of this particular view. So here I can create a snapshot at 4K, 2K, or 1K. So let me do that here. And it simply downloads this to my desktop, and then I can simply click on it, and this is a transparent PNG at 4K. And if I zoom in tightly here, you can see the quality of the material. You can see the stitch. You can see the buttons very well. This is a 4K image of that particular view that I simply just found here in the product viewer and downloaded. The other thing I can do with the snapshot tool is actually create turntable imagery. So this will actually generate rotational imagery of the product, download it, 2D imagery of the 3D product, and download it to my desktop. In addition to what we call detail views. And these are easy to set up views, different views of this product that might highlight different components. So in this case, we have one that's a pocket view, a collar view, and that cuff view over here. And if I simply create a turntable I then download. It takes a little bit longer than the single view, but there it is. It's downloaded a zip file over here, and I can simply open up this zip file and show you the different rotational views here. So we see this product at all angles and different components. Those 3 separate views of the variant that I just created just minutes ago. All right, so that's one really powerful usage of the tool here. The other thing I can do with a variant is I can download an OBJ file. So just simply going here and clicking on a variant, I can export to OBJ. This will download a 3D model along with its materials and colors along with it, so it could be used in other third-party applications such as maybe Keyshot, for instance, or maybe you want to use it as part of a virtual showroom. So we allow the exporting and the ability to get 3D assets out of the creation here within the design tool. Okay, so that's kind of just a high-level overview of the design area and creating different variants. Let me show you now. I'm gonna work on another kind of use case here. And again, I'm logged in as a product admin. And let's say I want to invite a artist to the platform. So what I do is I come over here to the left and I click on this, and this is basically our users tab. All right, and you can see all the different users that have been invited to the platform. And I'm going to invite a new artist to the platform, and his name is Joe. Let's call him Joe Skiba at test email. Joe. And I'm going to give him a role as artist. I'm going to introduce the different roles that we have in the platform right now that have different permissions within the platform. Product admin, I already kind of did an overview on that. But product admins are able to invite different artists and collaborators to the platform. Artists have certain permissions to be able to set up products, be able to add materials, different materials and colors to a product, add prints and graphics, as well as do what we call look dev, enhance the ability, enhance the materials that make them look more realistic, more photorealistic for different purposes. So they have a lot of permissions within the platform. Collaborators a little bit less. They're maybe someone like marketing or sales. Maybe you want to invite a factory or someone like that to the platform. They have less permissions. They don't have the ability to set up products per se, but they have the ability to create variants and create assortments, which I'll get to in a minute as well. All right, so Joe's an artist, and I'd like to have Joe actually create a product for me. So I'm going to invite him to the platform. When I say create, I want him to go to the 3D authoring tool. I want him to create a geometry, and I want him to bring that model into the platform so we can continue to add materials and colors and create variants there. So I've added it into the platform. Right now, he's received an email to create his own password, and let's say that's going on behind the scenes. So in the meantime, I'm back to being the product administrator, and I want to create an assortment. So what I've done is I've gone over here to the left and clicked on the assortments tab. All right, and this takes us to an area where we can actually develop and create assortments. So in this use case, I'm creating an assortment for an upcoming product review that I want to do. Let's say with a factory prior to the autumn fall 2020 season. So I can have as many assortments as I want. This is where I can see a list of the assortments I've created, and I can click on one and open it. Again, I'm a product admin, but anyone can have access to the assortment tool and view and see these assortments here within this tab. Assortments allow users to create boards and arrange an unlimited number of product variants on an easy-to-use free-form canvas. This is infinitely scalable, or design board that helps stakeholders visualize their entire collections in one place. Assortments are 2D meaning that they can leverage 2D assets such as imagery like this, photography, for instance. Maybe you have some inspirational imagery you'd like to add. Maybe you want to show a collection of prints or I don't know, colors, material shots, anything that you want to help demonstrate or conversate around a collection. But the secret sauce is in the product variants. So in this case, imagine I've invited Joe to the platform, and I want him to create a new polo so I can add it to this assortment. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to go back to the product, or I'm sorry, to the grid, and create a product for Joe. So I'm going to create one called New Polo, NP1, and add a product description, just New Polo, just a simple little description here, and create the product. So what I'm doing right now is basically creating simply an empty shell of a product. It doesn't have any 3D data within it. That's why it has this message. Me as the product administrator, I can go here. There's a mistake in my demo, of course. Let me do something else. Let me do this again. Polo 3. Let's try this again. Here we go. All right, so I have an empty, what we call an empty shell. This has a product description, just a little bit of metadata behind it. But other than that, it doesn't have really anything in this product quite yet. So what I want to do is I want to give Joe some instructions on how to design this product, maybe for the upcoming collection or assortment that I'm creating over here. So one way to do this is to use what we call product files. And this is basically the ability to add any files to this product that can help facilitate the creation of this product. So in this case, I may want to maybe give him some inspirational imagery, maybe some material ideas, maybe some instructions over here. They can be any file type. They can be PDF. They can be Excel spreadsheets. They can be imagery like this, and add this to the product. So I'm just going to do this simply, and these are just easily added over here on the right. All right, and now I can say, hey, Joe, come here. I've given you some instruction. Why don't you go to Clo, let's say in just this case. I'm just pulling one out of the bag, and create a new polo for this year's collection. So now imagine, I'm not going to actually do it, but now imagine that I'm logging in as Joe. I've taken these instructions. I've gone in. I've created my own model within Clo, and I click on import here, and I can select different files from my machine here. I have one here ready. This is simply an FBX file with a bunch of associated materials and textures along with it, and I can just open up this folder here. Oops, and just add these to my product. Oops, I'm going to do it the old-fashioned way. Sorry. Oh no.
The good old drag and drop. Yeah.
There we go. Yeah. Had to go back to my other screen and find it. Sorry, guys. So here we go. Here I've just added these files here, and I just hit import. And here on the web, this product is imported. So again, I am Joe. I'm the artist. I've created my model. I'm now importing it into the platform, so this product can then be set up and different variants and can be created. This doesn't take very long. It depends on the size of the model and then the associated textures. But once this product is here and it's ready to be set up, and anyone coming to this product then can actually view this product. Okay, so this is just an example of a quick import. So let me come back. I'm going to be now back to myself as this product admin. I'm creating this assortment, right? I'm coming back to my assortment. And let's say in the meantime, Joe has created different variants. He's added materials, he's added colors, he's added different prints or graphics. And he said, hey, we're ready. So let's bring these in. So what I can do in my assortment is simply add a variant to this assortment. by clicking the plus button. I'm going to come here and I'm going to select that polo that he created, and he's created these variants for me. So here I can see a full breadth of the variants that are part of this product. I can select which ones I want. I kind of like this long sleeve option. I have a couple short sleeve options, a couple others, and I can actually pull from the list of different rotational imagery for this product. Let's say I like this angle. I'm going to select this, bring these all in. You can see that they've been added here. And I'm going to bring them over to this area, so I can simply just click and drag, and I can bring them here and just kind of do something like this. Right. And then I can highlight them all. I can scale them down, bring them over here. And now these are presentable. I'm going to save and continue. And now you can see I can come here. I can invite anyone I want to this assortment. They can come, they can view, they can zoom in, they can see the actual detail. I don't know if you guys can actually see this through the webinar, but they can see the detail of the fabrics. And we can work on this collection together, let's say with that factory that I'm presenting it to. Once I'm ready for presentation, I can come here. We have a full screen mode, and this can be used to present this to various people. I can also download snapshots of the entire assortment. This is just a PNG that can be downloaded. I can even take segments of this, segments of this, and download simple segments. Okay, I'm looking at the clock. We don't have much time left, but here we go. So that's the idea behind the assortment tool. All right, so now I've created a collection that I can share with other people, and I've tried to show the kind of combination of two people working together to actually create this this collection together. All right, so one last thing I want to show, if I have time, is you might be asking, so where do all these materials and colors come from, and graphics and prints? So if I log in here, I come to a product, and I come over here to components. I can see the different components of this product. Components are a collection of meshes that can have different materials and colorways and prints applied to them for usage within the design tool. So in this case, I have a component that has two materials. Well, how do I bring a material in? I can come to the front. I can do it also simply by clicking on it, and I can click this plus button. Here we have the ability to add materials from 3 different areas. One, orchids. We have supplied 70 plus materials that you can use at your own discretion that are separated into different material types. We have also partnered with Swatchbook, who gives access to 20,000 plus real world materials that you can actually use and leverage on your products. And you can also bring your own materials in from the various authoring tools or different digital material suppliers that are out there. So in this case, I'm just going to simply apply a simple, let's say a cotton or a wool. I can just do a simple wool here. That wool comes in. I can scale this wool down so it looks more realistic here on the garment. All right, and then I can add different colors. These colors come from a color library. I'm not having time to actually go there and show where those come from, but now I have the ability to colorize this product using different colors coming from my color library. I also have the ability to add prints and graphics, but that's probably for yet another day, looking at the clock. All right, so that's basically sums up the demonstration here. I'm going to skip through, and we would love to hear back. We have a little bit of a Q&A session here, so we can do that as we meet. So let me just do a quick summary. This isn't all. This isn't where we're ending our journey, of course. As I mentioned earlier, we have an API that can integrate orchids into other third-party services like PLM, and we're going to keep pushing and planning for a lot in 2021, including comments and notifications for products and assortments, an embeddable configurator for so models and variants can be embedded and designed on any website. An embeddable grid wall, so you can use ORCIDs as a public selling tool, and also broad e-commerce integration. So we've been dedicated to developing this platform for well over a year, and we've just reached our limited beta release earlier this month. We are scheduled to go live, public live, with ORCIDs at the end of this year. So if you want to be a part of our early access group before we go live, please contact Yoram or hit this info at embodee.com, and we'll see if we can get you on the list. So a lot left to come, and I hope you enjoyed our demo. So back to you, Yoram.
Thank you so much, Ben. I wanted to say I enjoyed it. Even for me, there were some new things over here, but we already have some good number of questions. We want to get through them because we have a few minutes before the webinar ends. So Monica, if you please get us the questions, and then Ben and I will kind of bounce them off one another.
Yes, so thank you to both of you for this beautiful demo. We got a question that it says, what is the workflow for adding a model from vStitcher? What are the settings and file format?
So we have a user guide as part of the platform. I can even hop and show you where that is. Nah, it's probably not worth it. But we have a user guide that gives you full instructions on how to get these models out of the various authoring tools. So we cover many authoring tools there and give you specific instructions on the best way to export them so you can make the most of ORCIDs once they're within the platform.
Yeah, I will just add to that it's very simple. We use FBX and OBJ files. These are the most generic ones that any 3D authoring tool can export, not just the classic 3D authoring tools for fashion, but also for hard goods. And then the process that we walk you through in the export in the user manual is literally which boxes to click, so you'll be able to export the model correctly.
Perfect. We got another question in terms of roles. Can you set up or customize rights for existing roles or create new ones?
Did you say prints?
For the roles that exist. So can you set up
can you
or
create
customize?
new rules? Oh,
right.
no, that's a great question. So not yet, but that is on the roadmap for next year as well. The ability to have a custom roles, so you can very specifically depict which features and feature sets that you can have for a particular role. So that will be coming next year.
Yeah, already now the few roles that we have are designating certain things to be viewed for whoever is entering the system, which is pretty good. And what we're planning on doing is do a customer facing, meaning if you invite one of your customers, what will they be able to see? Already now, they will not see the component creation and things that are kind of behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. There's another question asking about the interface. So if someone has edited a product on the ORCIDs platform that was created elsewhere, like vStitcher, does it update the vStitcher file? And how do you control versions across the platforms?
I think, Ben, you want to take it?
Yeah, I can take it.
Okay.
So it's important to note that these models are generated within the authoring tool. So if a model is edited and modified here, we can actually export those back as OBJs if the authoring tool accepts the OBJ back. Then users can actually import that back into their 3D authoring tool and work from there. So that's basically the workflow today.
Great. We have another question about the assortment boards. Is there a need to get merchandisers and buyers across categories in the digital now? There is a need already, right, to have them incorporated. So is there a tool on the assortment tool so that people can comment, make notes, add updates, or make requests about the things that we see in the assortment? And we're running down on time, so.
Yeah, I'll take it, but the answer is generally yes to most of what that question was. You can make comments, you can add text, there's going to be additional features added such as notifications and alerts throughout the platform. So you'll get either a daily digest or you'll get an individual email for each and every one of the actions. But the assortments is very much an interactive one. If Ben were to click on one of those items, it will take him back to the assortment tool and create that. And we're coming up at the top end.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope,
Yes.
yep,
I wanted to know if some of the questions don't get answered, we'll be adding them to an email and sending them to you. We also want to
absolutely.
encourage you, all of you, to follow us on social media so that you can stay up to date on the new updates and the new releases that we have coming up. There are big, big things coming up for our Orchids platform and more webinars. Hopefully that you can join us and continue to learn. Ben, Yoram, any last words before we wrap up?
I'll just mention one very quick thing. This is something completely new. There was, if you think about how to optimize the use of 3D, Orchids is the way to go. And a designer is building a model in any of the 3D authoring tools. Anybody else can do the variant creation. That's not an option that was available up until now, let alone on a tablet, PC, Mac, or anything that carries a web browser. So take advantage, scale your 3D, make an amazing use of your 3D licenses, and enjoy.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Have a great day and great success.